Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you a couple of new little shortcuts that are kind of Excel-like, and we'll use the cost of haircuts, and we'll kind of do a little exploratory data analysis, and then in the next video I'll introduce to you what a bootstrap sample or a bootstrap distribution is. So these are the costs. Notice that I also captured the title of the list, so that's in cell A1. So my data actually goes from cell A2, and then if I go all the way down and scroll down a little bit, I can see that it stops at 51. So I'm going to turn this into a list. I'm going to call this my cost list, and it's the numbers in A2, and I'm going to use a colon, and I'll go to the number in A51. And so this is a kind of an Excel-like way to capture the entire column quickly. And if I go over here, I get all the numbers. It certainly looks like it, at least. And so this is nice. Let's create a stem plot. So the command is stem plot. And then I want to use my cost. But then I want to do a -1 adjustment. And what that does is that places it right here in my algebra view. And we'll probably delete this here in a bit, but a couple of things are happening. These high numbers down here at the bottom, 150, 150, 150, they're not included in the stem and leaf plot because they're outliers. That's kind of an unusual feature, but it beats having a 13 row and a 14 row and then a 15 row with 3 zeros in it. Now let's make a dot plot. So I want to do a dot plot of the cost numbers. And so what we'll have to do is we'll have to go over here to the graphing window and probably do a little bit of scrolling and things like that. So, and I'm holding the shift key down as I scroll up and down, and I'll hold the shift key down there and I'll bring in all those numbers. So there's my data, and I might want to maybe switch the color of that if I could, something a little bit brighter. And then I want to hide the label. And let's make a box plot. Let's place a box plot above it. So the command for the box plot starts as box plot. The y offset, where would we like the box plot to live? And I'd like it to live at y equals 10. And I would only like the box to be 1 unit wide. And I want to use my cost data. And what I want to do is I want to add another argument. I want to say true at the end. And true means yes, I want you to list any outliers or mark them as differently. In this case, they're marked with an X. And then let's maybe fix some things in our graphing window. So I'm going to go to the settings, and my settings are probably hidden way over here. The x-axis, I only want to show the positive direction, and the y-axis, I really don't even want to show the y-axis at all. I really don't need that. And honestly, for the grid, I don't even need the grid to show it all. And so this is my sample. 50. There were 50 data points, or 50 numbers in my sample. And I am going to assume that this was a good sample. But my sample, even though it was a good sample, my sample looks somewhat skewed, which makes me think that the population of costs was also somewhat skewed. Because if you have a good sample, your sample should look something like the overall population. So my guess, the overall population, most of the costs probably range from 0 to maybe $50 or $60, and there's a few folks who pay over $100 for a haircut, but generally speaking, most of the costs seem to be around $0 to $60 with maybe a median of $35. So we're going to do some inference procedures on this next using a bootstrap simulation. But I wanted to lay down this kind of groundwork first about looking at our sample and of our sample being good, and our sample should look somewhat like the population.